during Corona, but after Corona, he actually paid them back from the from it. That's the way a leader should work. That he didn't really care about the money; he cared about the company.
And what is the company? It's like one, there's a structure, a legal structure, but two, it's an organization of people.
Yeah. It's family. It's like your city, Jesse, where that they close the oil and the whole city suffers.
Mm-hmm.
The same if the leader were to be put in the hospital, company would suffer. So take care of everyone. We need all the wheels to make the clock turning.
And my experience of real leadership is someone who, leads by example, but also trains others to also be sovereign leaders themselves. Because really that's, people don't want to be told what to do. So people have the possibility to realize that they can be their own leader, the leader of their own life, and choose, make choices, wake up to their power, and make choices and decisions. And yeah, fulfill their power and create their own vision. But that also means being responsible for who you're choosing to be and the example that you're setting for others. It's really leadership starts within, starts with each individual, period. It's not like placing anyone on a pedestal, anyone anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's about each individual recognizing that power and that authority from within, and that we are adults here. We're not children. We may be childlike.
That's why the
and,
best
and we have
companies
that
is probably
possibility.
without stocks.
Sorry, Heinz, what
They
was
don't.
that?
The best companies are probably without stockholders or anything because they sort of ruin everything because they are all about money, not about the
Yeah,
company itself. They want more, more, more.
yeah. And it becomes a childish fight.
Yeah.
Whereas if everyone was responsible as a leader within themselves, how would that look?
Yeah.
You're either in alignment with the vision or you're not. And if you're not, well, maybe it's better to find a company that is in alignment with your vision, because everyone should really have a vision. Not should, everyone has the opportunity to have a vision for their own life and their own choice and their own passions, etc.
Yep, that's the liberation that has to happen. And yet people are so afraid that, oh, they're gonna lose their workers
Yeah,
if they gave their workers that choice. And it's like, really, yeah, you might lose some because they're gonna go to a whole nother area for their passion, right? It's like if we allow them to start searching for their passion, oh man.
we can't
But
allow that. We can't
the
allow
workforce,
freedom.
the workforce would be way more efficient.
How else are we going to transition as AI replaces a lot of these jobs?
Yeah, the only way is through creativity, really.
Mhm. And what's the point of creating if you don't enjoy it? There's not a passion and not a drive for
Well, they have the idea. I'll enjoy it when I retire.
it.
And then you'll die.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, that's an old paradigm for sure.
Yeah. I'll be happy when I'm rich. I'll retire when I'm.
Will never happen.
Yeah.
I'm talking about happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the structure, right? It's really the underlying structure is scarcity.
Yeah.
When I get this, then I can have blah blah blah, and it'll never happen because it's designed to fail.
Yeah. You're just going from one box to the next.
Yep.
One
One
empty
jail,
box.
one
Yeah,
jail
Yeah.
cell to the next.
yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're
Oh,
free to be who you really are, your true self, like who you were born to be, who you came. Okay, so when that energy filled your when that energy entered the zygote and the heart started beating, like who is that? Who is that inner being? Who is that? What is that? Like that's you. That's who you are. When you remove all of the other, like work and life and blah blah blah, you just strip all of that away. Who really are you at the core, and why are you here? What are you here? Who are you here to be? Why did you come here? Like, what's your purpose in being here? Like that's who you are. Not your job, not your marriage. Who did you come here to be? Like that's a powerful question. Like who
yeah,
really
many
are you?
times. And ask people, then they say, who are you? I'm a lawyer. That's not who you are. That's what you
That's just a title. But who are
They
you? Like,
identify with their work. Identify with their work. That's not who they are.
and even a more powerful question might be,
Remember last time,
who did you come here to be? Like at your core, what ways of being did you come here to be? Like, who really are you at your core? I am and you get to choose that. We all have that opportunity.
remember when I talked to my dad last time, the 9th of September on his birthday. I became so because he said, I finally figured out how to enjoy life a little bit by going out monthly. And so every time before he's a self-made man, has built his own company from nothing and have been retired for many years actually. But I never heard him actually be so human. Actually, that the money he's earned during his lifetime, he actually is spending it. And I wish that he spent every last time he's ever earned, so there won't be a family quarrel over the things he's made. Because the way he was sounding, oh, and he played golf or plays golf, and the group that he started out in, there were 15 people, only two are still alive. So he's feeling that, oh my God, I become 82 and I need to do something. So I'm happy that he's spending his money going out to dinners and enjoying
Nice.
himself. Because I thought when he stopped working, oh my God, he's gonna die. He's gonna die from it. But I told him, why don't you just slow down and come in half a day or something like that? And he started doing that for a long time. Then all of a sudden we didn't see him almost anymore. So I sort of gave him the permission slip when he was 60 to start slowing down.
There you go.
But it took a long time. But it wasn't until we spoke now that I actually heard that, whoa, now he's actually starting to enjoy what he has done with his life. And he realized he ain't that young anymore.
Yeah. Kind of wake up one day and realize that.
Yeah.
What do I get to do now with today? I get to be, and how
That
do I
sounds
get to
happy.
fulfill my purpose?
I even heard my nephew that my father had been to a party somewhere with where my nephew, and my nephew can't stand him normally. But he said, "Wow, he actually acted like a grandfather this time,
Oh,
and he was friendly and asking, 'How are you doing?' and putting his hand around him and was open." And he said, "Maybe I want to just forgive him for that shit 20 years ago." Are you
yeah,
still worried about stuff 20 years ago? I told him. It's just eating your energy. It's not doing anything to my dad. Oh, he realized that. So he actually had a good time with my dad then. But my dad is German, so it's been taking a long time to get to that point. He grew up, was born during World War II, and was the provider of the family at the age of 4 to his mother and his two older sisters. One was, 16, 17, and the other 12, 13. And the 4-year old kid was the provider. So my dad had a different way of looking at stuff. But I really enjoyed that conversation that I could hear. Normally he told me what 15, 20 years ago that he re really didn't like spending that much time with me. I was way too honest for his taste. I just said shit
ouch.
like I saw it. And normally I saw it with open eyes. So of course nobody. When you sell used cars, you want you want the truth in moderation. Yeah. I'm just happy he's happy. That's the most important things to me. That he finally figured out life is here for the living,
Yeah,
not for the saving.
take sometimes decades or a lifetime to really realize that, eh?
And when I think
So
about it, he's pretty high level in one way because he can lie down on the couch 3 minutes later, he'll be off and sleeping exactly at 12 o'clock. He'll get up like you could set your watch from it. And so I would guess he would be really good at meditating if he put his time into it. He could drift, and he's done everything and he has great advice. It's just that working for to get build his company, that took a lot of time, dedication. But he was sort of half a half of that leader. He led by example because he knew, like he said, none of them would be working there if he wouldn't make the companies alive. So lots of hours put in. But that was that generation.
yeah,
Up in all generations, right? Shared with the younger generations of what worked during their time frame, and so then the generations do that, and then it like doesn't it comes to a point where it doesn't work any longer,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, it's like not the primary structures change. And what happens is people spend 30 years figuring out what works and then tells the next generations, how to see it, and by then it's long changed.
Yeah.
So you can see how scarcity, hard work, and success are all entangled.
Mm.
So there's just not ever one resistance, right? Like, oh, I only have resistance in hard work. I only have resistance in scarcity. It's like, no, these woundings, right? They overlap. They wrap in other woundings. It's complex. But thank God we
Everything's
don't have to understand all of how they're connected. We just need to, that's resistance. Wipe it clean so that all we're doing every day is just cleaning our inventory, cleaning our
everything become very,
liabilities.
everything's
Yep.
become very complex over the years. In Denmark, I can only speak for it, but was used to be between the man and the woman. Now it's the man, the woman, and the government. Actually, the government wants taxes for marriage now. It's insane. You get more as a single provider than you do as a married couple. I would lose 1,500 Danish crowns. What is that? Divided by six. $250, $300 each month if I lived with a woman. I would take that out of my pension.
Yeah.
It's
Most
insane.
most governments are running out of money, right? It's like a whole other story, but it's like, oh yeah, they're made 30 years made promises they can't keep.
Nope.
Good morning,
Good morning,
Allison.
Annette.
Was it Allison or Annette?
Annette.
Oh,
Good
hi, Annette.
morning. It's
Sorry.
Annette. Yes, that's okay.
Morning,
Both
Annette.
names start with A.
Yeah, looks good.
Close enough.
Looks obvious how well I paid attention.
That's okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's our Thanksgiving weekend this weekend
Oh,
here
that's
in
right.
Canada. Yes, yes.
It's
So we
also
have an
happy today.
I actually I actually got some really good sleep. Previous night I was up quite a bit because one of my puppers had an upset tummy, so he had to be let out quite often throughout the night, so I slept on the couch. And as a result, the other one, the 1 year old, didn't want to stay in her crate in the garage. We call her Locksmith Lily. Her name is Lily, but Locksmith Lily because she's has a capability of getting out. She's like a Houdini. Anyways, and by about it was like 4:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, I hear her tapping at the door with her paws, and it startled me. And I went there and she's standing there. She had opened up her crate. And this is not an easy feat to do, but she has figured out how to do it. Anyways, um, I let her in and settled her down. And every time I started falling asleep, she would lick my face. So, needless to say, I did not get much sleep yesterday. And I was kind of groggy all day. So, I went to bed very early yesterday. And I had a very good sleep. So, I'm happy today.
Hmm.
Annette, that you got
Yeah.
sleep.
Yes. Now, the other thing I did is when I woke up, so I woke up around 5 this morning and um, went to go back to sleep, but I did something I used to do um, when I was going through my separation with my husband, and that was get into the emotion of something fantastic. And I chose what I wanted to be in the emotion of, fell asleep like that, and lo and behold, I woke up in that emotion too. So that is also part of my feel good that keeps on lingering this morning so far.
Hmm. Nice.
Thank you. Thanks for the reminder too. That's very cool.
It is.
It's like setting your emotional set point the night before, basically.
Yes. Yeah, I've done that before, falling asleep, especially when I had to prepare for court and stuff like that. I envisioned what would happen, talking to the judge, and the outcome that I envisioned, and more so the emotions of what I envisioned as the outcome. But I did envision speaking to the judge as well. But would fall asleep like that night after night after night after night. We knew for a month and a half when our date was, and it worked. Matter of fact, when I left, I was in a better emotion than what I had envisioned I would be. And not once, but twice.
Now, this sounds very important.
It's a creative process.
Very creative, yes. Yes.
What some might call the superconscious path.
Compared to that, how do we can say, Nanette, how would you have done it? What would you have done before that most people still do?
Ruminate, in the sense of what the issues are, being forceful with what I want as opposed to observing it. The FOR, focus, observe, relax, get into the emotion of it. So I was not letting the ego predict the outcome. I was allowing my body to speak to the outcome. And I do listen to a lot of Joe Dispenza content as well. And what I was doing, I was also rewiring my brain at that time too. And didn't know it was happening until now, basically, afterwards, that you see that you're not reactive to emails the same way as what it had been prior to that, the threats of different things and all that. So, which is a really, really cool thing. It's something that doesn't happen overnight. It is something that happens very slowly. And, but I stuck with it. I had my lenses I would write out every day. You knew that. And that helped keep me focused on other things I wanted to do in life as well. And so the old Annette would have been in a panic mode, would have been stressed out by the whole thing. I wasn't. When the day arrived, I went there very calm because I went there in the emotion of the end result. And I did my part. Even my lawyer complimented me on how calm I was compared to how I used to be in his office.
Thank
Morning,
you.
Kalis.
Hey, Kalis.
Morning, Galis.
Good morning, guys.
And congratulations.
It's really cool to
Yeah.
hear about your experience in that.
Thank you.
No, what
Created your
will
own reality.
Yeah, that is what we all can do to create. Now, here's what happens is usually as people step into it, they try it, and it's like, oh, that didn't work. So they go back to what they were doing.
Yeah.
As if that works. Look, as if that works.
I also used it to purchase my vehicles. I envisioned the vehicles that I wanted to buy, the color, the year, even the mileage, looking at the odometer and seeing the mileage that's on there and the price. And each one of them took a little over a month to locate that vehicle.
Mm,
The last one took 3 weeks.
wow.
The first one took almost 2, and the second one was just a little over a month. I have 3 because I have 2 boys that are using vehicles too. So I bought
Mm,
vehicles so that they could use because they had no money and yet had jobs. They had no way to get to their work.
Very sweet of
yeah.
you.
In the net, I want to come back to the this wasn't a this was a messy divorce too. Well, what I mean by that is that you changed your pattern, he didn't. So
Correct.
you knew how to take it to you just let it you let it you let him
Unfold.
unfold in front of everyone,
Oh dear.
Yes.
and you
Yes.
stood there just watching it.
Yes. I knew what the
Wow.
triggers were, and that helped me prepare. But in the end, I realized I could not control how I wanted him to end up or how I wanted him to feel. I had full control. I was in the driver's seat about how I wanted to end up at the end. The emotions of when it is done and I have signed the final piece of documentation, and I would get up and shake my lawyer's hand and get in my car. How did I want to feel? And both times I felt better than what I had envisioned or what I had been planning and preparing for. But it was months. You know, the first one was a month and a half of preparing and talking to the judge every night. And then the second one, we had the date well in advance. And every night I just would fall asleep and be in that emotion of the end result of how I want to feel when everything was done. So like I said, I was very calm. My lawyer was just totally blown away how calm and open I was when he would come back in the room because it was done online. The negotiations. So I was in a separate room from him, and then he would come to me and talk to me about stuff, and then he'd go back. But he was just, I'd be doing crosswords. I was reading a book. I was, every time he came in, I was doing something different. And it was just, for me, it was stuff to pass time. It wasn't stuff to keep my mind distracted.
Wow.
But I
Yeah.
remained in that emotion of the end result the entire time because it's like training in a sense. But afterwards, I was exhausted. I was exhausted because it was like, okay, what else do I want to create now? And I realized that this was so major. I was exhausted and I thought I couldn't create anymore, but I did. Just little things I could create. Like I said, I purchased additional vehicles, right? But those were things that were, they also took time. It wasn't something, like you said, people try it for a little while, they don't get a result. But sometimes some things take a lot more time.
And if patience isn't one of your virtues, it is one you'll have to learn.
Hmm.
Just like
Yes.
if money, whatever you put as like a focus, like it was part of your old self, like fast and a lot of money, like fast and a lot of money were mine. And so it's like I can't, like those are my lessons, right? It's like,
Yeah.
and so when I start pushing on the time, it's like, oh, there's my old pattern. Right?
Oh,
There's my, it's coming back. And it's like, okay, I'll recognize it. Okay, I see my patience. Okay, let's work. Let's see what's about the patience. Right? And like Will yesterday, our conversation, right? It's like as soon as I start to do it for the money, I've lost the passion.
Wow. Yep.
So it's
there's
like
another. Yeah.
passion first, and then it's like the money will come, but it's the passion first.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the focus because that's the emotion of the end result,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever emotion it is that you choose that's in alignment with your end result.
And it's not like I
Passion
have
is
a
a good one.
written, it's not like I have a written code for it, but it's just like knowing knowing what my lessons are is what I drove for in my old self, and I can't let that drive my new self.
Mm.
Man, I just had a realization, guys. And it's like, okay, we create this tension structure. It's in tension, and the energy that holds the tension is the emotion of the end result. And then the action is what is in alignment with that end result.
Mhm.
And what also resolves that tension is, like Annette said, focus, observe, relax. It's relaxing, it's surrendering. And the universe, God, whatever your definition is, that tension resolves itself when you surrender and relax.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're not forcing it to look a certain way.
Yeah. You're
You're,
allowing it to become whatever it becomes.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
And
and that is the,
you're trusting ultimately. Because it's faith really is trust.
yes, it's deeper. Faith is without seeing it.
Yeah, it's just a knowingness. It's like, this will happen. That's it, period. And so, I don't even have to trust it. It's just going to happen. That's it.
That's faith. Faith is a deeper
Yeah.
level of trust.
The other thing that is tied into all of this that nobody has said yet is I am deserving of this.
Yes, of course you are. Everyone is.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone is deserving to be happy.
Yes. But inside, we do have our sabotaging parts too that tell us that we're not. And it's to work through those. So when you get in the emotion, you get into the emotion, and if you could say I deserve this, and you feel even bigger, and your energy just heightens that much more, you've tapped into that, and that allows you to allow it.
I deserve this. Very nice. Thank you, Annette.
So if you say I deserve this and you feel a twinge in your body, there's something saying maybe not. But if you can say that and it feels so cool and feels so smooth, then yes. But if you have that twinge, then go visit it. Find out what it is that is holding you back.
And that's why breakthrough, that's how breakthroughs happen.
Yes.
That
And
twinge is like a block.
yeah,
So break it down.
yeah. It's an attachment, it's a trigger, it's an automatic, it's a reaction. It's what I normally do. It's resistance, it's tension. It's just how are we attaching to it? That's all it is. So we're afraid of something we've made up. No, God, no.
Somebody
Yeah.
else had made up for you.
That's even
Yeah.
worse. That's even worse.
What you are afraid
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Heinz, you were correct. It is more that one than it is the other one. Yes, we're not very aware of what we, even though it is ours, we're not sure. We're not really sure that it is ours.
No.
Yes, and so you had mentioned about the messy divorce part, and that is exactly the documentation I was getting from them was very, very scathing as far as I am not deserving of A, B, and C. And that it hits hard, and it's just getting through that so that you can get into the emotion. Like I said, FOR, focus, observe, relax. We were as a group talking about it at that time and discovering that. And that was huge for me because I was able to practice it as we would talk about it. But it works. Like I said, there's no force. They were forcing constantly. And like you said, he didn't change. I did. And for that reason, I could do the things that I was doing with myself and with my body to go past all the flame throwing that they were doing.
Well done.
Hi,
Morning,
T.
Chi. I mean,
Hello.
good day, Chi.
Yes, hi, Chi.
Good morning.
Hi, Chi.
Good evening. Yeah,
Yes,
great conversation.
there's your voice. I hear your voice this morning, Chi.
I just want to add something. Happiness and harmony, goes hand in hand. So to be in harmony with our higher self and with the truth is very important.
Mm.
Mhm.
Chi, I'm going to add one more word as alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I love those. And it's like, yes, those, and it's
Mhm.
like those lead the flow, which is what, like when things go the way that, like we're like, they're just nature's flow.
Mm. Because when our mind is not in harmony, we turn sour.
Yes.
Mm. Then we fight a endless battle.
That's right. We confuse the tension for the creations, like what's coming next. We confuse that with fear.
Mhm.
Like that tension. It's like, oh, we make it up at something else, right? And it's like, oh, it's just the other side. It's like, oh no, it can be this. And it, like we talked earlier, it's like from the foundation of scarcity.
Yeah.
Scarcity, not deserving, not good enough. Do you see like all these things? I'm not perfect. I don't belong, right?
Yeah.
I'm not like anyone else. I'm all alone. I mean, the list goes on and on.
It's the lack, loss, and limitation.
Yeah.
So
And
we got stuck.
and it's like so it's like, oh, what do these attachments feel like for me? And it's like, here's one just to try on. It's like, I think you're a god. So if there's an attachment to God in a certain way, and certain people, I say that with my mom, my mom's like, oh, there's no way that I can't be as high as he is. And it's like, oh, mom, you're putting him on a hierarchy. It's like the ocean is bigger, yes, but the water in the ocean, if I bring it home, I still have the ocean with me, right? It's like it's ocean water, even if I have a piece of it with me. It's like that's how we are. And now, rather than using God, right, I'm just trying to trigger. I'm trying to get and usually, spiritually, people don't like to talk about it, right? So it's uncomfortable. But that's where I say, like, that's what I call genius. So that's our genius. And I use little God as a little g. It's like we're all gods. Like if we can look at each other as all gods, it's like we see each other differently. But then we're not gods. Weird. So it doesn't matter, right? It's like, what matters is like, oh, I'm responding to words that you're saying, Jess. Huh. I'm not doing it to you. I'm just speaking the words, and you're the one that has the attachment. The thing is people don't look at that attachment. They either avoid, fight, or freeze. And that is your tendency. So when it's your tendency, it's like, oh, I'm going to do that most of the time. So that's what I'm going to look for. I'm going to look for that action. Like, and it's only those three. Like, do I fight? Do I avoid? Or do I freeze? Now, the other one is like, well, there's also places where I engage. Huh. Oh, yeah, that's really the only one that matters.
Yeah, those four types is sort of like four different perspectives on the same problem. Morning, Mona.
Morning, Heinz.
There's
Morning, Jesse.
Mona. Hi, Mona.
How are y'all?
Not as good as you.
Good morning, Mona.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Morning, Mona.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
You made it.
Yeah.
I noticed yesterday, I was like in a pattern. I was in a conversation, had great conversations with my daughter yesterday. And she was telling me about how excited she was for what she was doing. And man, I wanted to, like, there was a part of me that wanted to say little things to just knock her down, to take a chunk out. It's like here comes my axe. Let me just cut part of your leg off. And it's like, oh my God. It was just like there. It was like, wow, that's just my automatic pattern. It's like, whoa, where I used to say that. It's like, no, now I hold it and just be like, oh, that's not going to do anything to help her.
That's a good catch, Jesse. That's growth.
Well done.
Yes.
And what a gift you're giving her by creating safe space for her to be.
I screwed up a lot before.
Yeah, you know the difference now.
Now she's in post-secondary, is she?
No, it's just in high school.
Almost.
High school.
Oh, high school, okay.
Yeah, just starting high school.
Yeah. They remember that. They do remember that. Just from a personal side, from my side, my ex-husband did the same thing to my youngest son. And a lot of it during his university years, these automatics of putting him down. And he remembers it because he would tell me about it. And so my reaction, my automatic, was to do the opposite, and to have him see what a wonderful person he is, and that his career choice is his career choice, not his father's career choice. And but yes, they do remember that, Jesse. So bravo.
What's really important about what Annette is talking about is this is a time where they're very sort of self-centered to a certain degree. And they're kind of looking for where they belong at. Because high school is very demanding emotionally and intellectually, because there's so many different people out there. And if they are feeling like they're aligned at home, they will carry that with them outside. And it will help them navigate other people's energy, I guess is a good word for that. So basically, you're the leader in this and you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, Mona. Great share. It's like, yeah, it is. It's like, if you think of it, it's like around their friends, they're all going through the same finding who they are, right? They're like sifting through it. And so there's no real stability. If you think about it, there's no real stability around them unless it's at home. And unfortunately, a lot of people at home don't have stability.
So to create that space is a major gift, especially if it's a scarce commodity.
And daddies are for identity. More so than the moms. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yep. You gotta have someone to love and someone to hate, you know? So it's like mom and dad.
Okay, so are you looking for her to hate somebody?
There's a structure.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. It's like, oh, I know where I stand, right? I know where I yeah.
I love how you got that.
Sorry, hate. I'll take the hate out and I'll replace it with blame.
There you go.
There you go.
I need someone to blame.
Yeah, I'm a
And
victim.
I can't blame mom. I love her too much.
No.
So there you go. There's my pattern.
You and how many other millions or billions of people?
I'm not alone. I'm
Evidently
only alone.
not. You have a group of friends that are like-minded.
Yeah, I'm only alone if I keep it inside. Oh, how ironic is that? I'm only alone when I keep it inside. Hmm. Oh, but it is scary. It is scary to say it out loud. So it's just more comfortable to be alone and wait for it to change someday.
It will only change when you change.
Mhm.
So you need to get it out. That's the only way you can change from keeping it inside.
But that's the reality that they're creating. That's the emotion that they're getting in. And that's why they're living that life, is because they are creating it by thinking that and feeling that every day.
And that they're doing just what you were doing as you went through your divorce. It was just they're doing it with a different emotion. You were doing it
Exactly.
with a different emotion. It's like, oh, and that's why I keep getting that emotion.
Yes.
Weird.
Yes.
Don't tell me it works that way. Oh my God, don't tell me that. Oh, 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 oh.
Sorry. Jesse became enlightened.
No, I don't want to hear it. Jeez. It's like it's like happening whether you want to hear it or not.
Yep.
And, oh my God, if I look at that, I'm going to realize that I'm not as good as I think I'm not as good. I already think I'm not good enough, and I'm afraid to look at that. Huh. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-mm. What words do you bring in with you today?
I bring attachment.
Man, boy, that word's been with me this week. It's like, what am I attaching to? What's triggering me? How about for you? What are you seeing with it, Mona?
What comes up for me about attachment is my sister and I haven't talked for 3 years, and we're kind of sort of talking again. And I'm realizing my mom has been gone for almost 10 years next year. She is still, because she had a closer relationship with my mom, she's still attached to the grief surrounding her passing. And I'm not nearly as attached to that because of this group and because of Chris's program and that recode technique. So this morning I sent her a message and I told her I know a coach that deals with grief, but I haven't told her about Chris Duncan's technique yet. Because I don't know if that would be an acceptable way of dealing with her attachment to the grief. But it sure helped me out a lot. And I know that I can't do any recodes with her because the situation is too close. Yeah. And there's already been some damage done by another party in the situation.
Me personally, I had some attachment to grief, but then I dove into it. Why am I grieving? It's because I loved her. Well, should I then be grieving? Or should I actually be happy that I have loved her? Just changing my perspective a little, and everything changed.
Well, what really helped me out was family dynamics. I wanted to dive into why my mom made some of the decisions that she made while she was alive when she was raising us by herself.
Oh.
Yeah. And apparently, I made that comment to her husband, and I don't know what he did with it, but that was what caused us to not speak for 3 years.
Oh. Secondhand knowledge.
Yes. Anyway, we were talking about choices, and I told her that our dad did the same thing to me and my mom. He separated us, and her husband did the exact same thing that our dad did. And her comment was, "Don't make me make a choice." And I said, "You've already made a choice by not talking to me for 3 years." So she's made the choice, and she didn't realize that she made that choice. She said no to me, and she said yes to him. She made an automatic choice by saying yes to whatever he said.
Yeah.
And she's feeling a lot of guilt over the death of her daughter because she wasn't speaking to her daughter very much. And even though, and a lot of it was behavior driven, and I get it, there's two sides to every story. But she lost her life because she was involved with somebody that was 2 times her age, at least, old enough to be her dad. And he was looking for somebody to take advantage of that he could reprogram to do what he wanted. And he found my niece. And my niece fell for it because she was too young to know any different. So my sister's dealing with the fact that her daughter is no longer around, and she's carrying a lot of guilt over that relationship too. That was another reason that I advised her to talk to a different coach about her grief, because if she can be helped with my mom's grief, she can be helped with her daughter's grief.
It's all the same grief.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like I lost it. I wanted to go back to the family dynamic. Right?
Yeah.
Did you see it was like her dad did it? So we think we find someone different, but what happens is we see someone putting on a different pattern. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like we're looking for someone different. And then so we find someone who's putting on a facade. They're putting on something else. Right. Not in a bad way. It's just like that's what people do. Right. Everyone puts their best out there. Right. And so it's like they find each other. Right. And then it's like what it ends up being is the same pattern that they were getting away from.
Pretty much, because I met the guy.
Mhm.
And
well, we feel safe. That's what we love. Right. That's what we know as our father.
He was he had the same attitudes that her dad had, and it really creeped me out. The other thing that creeped me out was he hovered over her. He didn't let her be alone with other people to have conversations because he was afraid that somebody would get in her head and change her mind about what she was doing. Because if they changed her mind about what she was doing, then he couldn't be supported anymore by what they were doing together.
And it's always easier for the outsiders to see it, right? The ones that aren't in the pattern. So that means really hard for us to see our own patterns.
Yeah. And I see where I've picked people like my dad too.
No,
Even though he wasn't there for a long time, I still see where I picked the pattern, and I did the same thing.
it's just right. It's like whether dad was there or not tells you something.
Yep. When they say you're set by the age of 5, they mean that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I listened to a story yesterday. It was a great guy. The guy said, the guy says, he says, he said, I was talking about a situation, and he was pulled back. Someone said, "Wow, that sounds like a core wounding." And the phrase was where his dad told him, said, "You are a pussy." Sorry for the word, but he's like, "You're a pussy." And he said, I must have been 5 years old. And he says, really, like that has really stuck with me. And he said, like, that's how my whole life, I oriented my whole life not to be that. Same thing, right? It's like right there.
Yeah.
And that can go both ways.
Mm-hmm.
When you have somebody trying to prove that they're not something that their dad said, that could definitely go the wrong way.
Yes.
Because then they're at the same time trying to prove to themselves what the definition is. So it's not only that their dad's definition, it's their own definition of what that dad said. So it's twice as toxic as just one time.
Yeah. In that
You're fighting
fight,
yourself.
in the fight to be right.
Yep.
And it's like if people say, if someone inside, as I say, everyone has this fight to be right. And it's like, oh, not me, right? It's like you're stepping over it. You're not willing to look at it because you're afraid to find something in it. It's like, that's what you're not surrendering. Family dynamics. Oh, if it's like, here, simple is working on yourself. Because like when you like work on your like see it in yourself, then you can begin to see it out there easier. Right? Oh, so that's an awareness level that you can tell is like, well, how aware are people is like in their ability to tell their own experiences, like what they've gone through, how they've done it. And some people will tell you how they've read how other people have changed, which means they went to a course and someone told them, and then they said, oh, well, this is what that guy said is you need to do, so that's what you should do. Back to the coaching model. I don't know why that just keeps, I think it's my dissatisfaction with it.
So, for my word with this conversation is entitlement. Entitlement for me to be my own being. My own entitlement to be me, to be my being.
I love I love the tension between the two because it's like, oh, you normally don't put those two together.
No.
And it's like, oh, now what that means is like, oh, that's an easy way to change. And it's like, yes, give me more of that in it.
So why should I let somebody else be entitled to tell me how to live or how to be or their opinion about my life or my career or whatever? That is my entitlement, not theirs.
And as you said that, it was like, yes. And what I hear in that is like, that's you in your power.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard.
Which took a long time to, yes, go ahead.
It's a rarity. I've never heard entitlement used in a positive way that way.
Until today.
Entitlement is normally, yeah. I said normally when I hear it, it's a negative word because it's there's difference between selfies and selfies. And entitlement, I didn't know it could have the other side like this.
How did you word that, Annette? Entitlement to be like me?
My own being.
My own being. Thank you. I'm just going to put that in the chat so that we get to reflect on each other's words of the day. That's okay. Yeah.
I'm going to take the R from Annette. Relax.
Relax. Yeah.
Yes.
Relax. Don't you love that when people tell you to relax? Relax.
Are they saying it because suddenly there's a charge in them about something?
Yep.
So they want you to diffuse, so it diffuses their
better.
charge. Yes.
Yep. Relax. Relax.
Don't do it.
And that I just want to compliment how verse your language has become with structure. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Like your awareness to the structure, it's solid.
And I'm not shy to talk about it because I can feel it and it feels good. And it's not the ego either. I can tell because it's the other parts of my body that are in harmony. There's chi, right? Harmony. And then from that, you also get that happiness, that contentment.
Mm. Yeah, that's my word for today, harmony.
Awesome.
And I like that your sharing is sort of like, it's okay as long as you put in the work. That your sharing is your experience of it. So it's your truth. And it's okay for us to do whatever we do.
Did I miss
There's only one way
someone's?
to do it. Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
just posting the word of the day in the chat. Did I miss someone's word?
We started with the word before that. The first
Okay.
word was, oh,
I don't. It's like we still have people to share theirs, yeah, if they choose, if they so choose it. So it's like an invitation to share a word.
I think I'm gonna share mine now. I'm gonna think about it. Yeah. So my word is freedom, which is kind of the conversation that we started with, Jesse, when I first hopped on. It's one of my values. And it has a lot of, there's a deep structure there, and who I came here to be, and what I've created as a result, you know, and the being in the conflict was creating a lot of prisons for myself, you know, metaphorically.
So one of the exercises that I really enjoy doing for myself in my head, I don't do it out loud, but it's something that I've practiced. I demonstrated here. Will. Try to give me 5 words that are as closely connected to freedom that you can.
Yeah, sovereignty is definitely one. Like freedom, sovereignty, love, joy,
liberty.
peace,
Liberty,
sovereignty.
you know.
Oh, liberty, like freedom. Well, the thing is like for me, freedom is to be your true self. So who am I? Who am I choosing to be? Who do I get to be? Who at my core, who really am I? And if I'm truly free, I'm going to be that. I'm going to be my authentic self. But if I'm not free, I'm going to put on a facade and I'm going to be fake, and I'm not going to show up in my sovereignty because I don't feel free to be that. So, you know, my definitions of freedom may be very, very different from the next person's.
They are.
Yeah.
And you're attached to them completely different. Now there'll be a group of you.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's this group.
I'm attached to freedom. That's it, eh? Wow. Good one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Detachment. There you go. There's a word.
Yeah. Freedom can be free from the egotic mind.
Exactly. From the
Freedom.
impulse, from the trigger, from the automatic. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, freedom can be all sorts of things. I just I just have to put the intention afterwards.
Sovereignty, detachment.
And so what happens then is that if like freedom is your way of being for that, then it's like, oh, all those other words are ways of being for you too.
Yeah.
When you're in that emotion. Oh.
Openness. You know, so I got sovereignty, detachment, surrender, and openness so far. One more word.
Look, it doesn't have to be 5.
Well,
it doesn't have to be 5.
I want to do the exercise.
Good.
Let me do it.
Look,
allow me to be free to do it.
Yeah, it's like, but notice you did, right? And usually people like have a hard time getting to 5, which is fine. And so it's like, what do you do? Like, if you can't get to 5, like, what do you do? But the point is that you started it, and what happened was it expanded. So freedom expanded. You connected it to other things you had meaning for, and it just drew you a bigger picture.
I got my 5th word.
By doing the exercise, you did it. Doesn't mean you have to complete it. Now that's just an attachment
but I
you
did
have to
complete
completing. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Will, you got an A+ too.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Validation. Pat on the back, Will.
I get approval.
Yeah, you passed to the next grade, Will. Yay.
Yay.
He's the winner today. The winner.
I'm at grade 2, level 2 now. Yeah, I'm the winner. I'm the
Sorry,
winner.
this one goes backwards. We count down. So you're at 99.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's just a fun play to see. Like when we focus on something, we only run down one rabbit hole. That's the self-conscious mind. That's the ego when it focuses on something, right? When it latches on to something,
Oh, yeah.
right? It'll follow that anchor line all the way to the bottom.
Oh, yeah. It's a deep dive into freedom.
So all we do is say, okay, how do you go 30,000 feet in the air then? It's like, oh, do the opposite. Oh, yeah. Like those are practices of awareness. So my word will be coach because it was like, just like that's even though as much as I hate the word, it was like that was what I love to do is just to like have fun with that. So that's my version of coaching.
Letting them solve the problem themselves.
That's right. And even as I said, it's like, that just doesn't feel right. So I don't think it's my word of the day.
Oh, okay.
But see, I had to get
no
it out.
takebacks. No
Oh,
takebacks.
I'm not taking it back. Look, I'm
just
not
kidding.
taking it back. It's just
Well,
like,
do
oh,
you
it's
have
there.
five words? Do you have 5 words you can associate with coach?
Serve was the first one. Yeah. As I said it, like that's what I tested. It was like, okay, what is it? It's like, well, behind it was serve. And it's like, I know that's true. Uh, Expand, release, freedom in that. It's like freedom, release, power, like to power within. It's like those are all like satisfaction, happy, joy. It's like a new life, a new being. So all of those are on what I call coach. And see, it's messy. Like when we do it, it's messy, but that's the point is just to open it up and make connections. Connections with the words, with the meanings. See, I had to use coach because I said I hated it. So that's like an attachment. That's a resistance. It's like, so who else has a word? Who hasn't shared one that would like to?
Sounds like everybody's full.
Sounds like it. Works for me.
Yeah.
Now, what do we do
It's
with
okay
them?
if you don't have a word, and it's okay if you keep it to yourself too. Right?
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Yeah, even like keeping it to yourself brings it in, like, but it like has to be like, oh, that would be my word, right? Even in your own mind, it's like, oh, that's the same thing. But most of the people, like a lot of times, not saying it's here, it's just like people will be like, oh, that sounds good, but I'm still not going to do it. So they don't even get to like they're wasting it. It's like like that, like there's energy just waiting to move and they stop it. So that's what saying no is like. That's what we say. It's like when I say no, people think when I say like be aware of when you say no, they're the only no they think about is the one they say out loud. It's like, no, that's the one I don't care about, really. I mean, that's the obvious one. That's the easy one to get, but it's like I want you to find the no that you're saying inside your head.
You have a word, Mona?
My word was attachment today.
Attachment. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a note of that. Thank you.
I remember now that you told it.
I remember Jesse having a word and not wanting to say it because it was totally opposite to what everybody else was saying. But I learned that it's okay. It's okay to say those things. Like let's say for today, we have these wonderful and some very powerful words. If I'm sitting there and I'm sitting in confusion, and confusion is the word that's coming to me, then that is my word then. And that's been a word of mine in the past whenever there have been powerful words and I haven't said anything. But yeah, I sometimes just sit with that. But my question then is, so why am I confused? If that's my word, why am I confused? So that's good. It's okay to keep the words to yourself too.
Yep, there's two ways the words of the day show up. One is like I bring it with me, so I'm in it and I can't get out of it, and the other one is like, where am I going today? Like, what do I want my day to be? Like that's the structure because the tensions between the two of them. What breakthroughs did you have, see, experience, witness today?
Like every day I get more perspective. Haven't really figured out what I'm gonna do with it, but
yeah,
it'll be there when I need it.
Yeah. I'm gonna add a word of just patience. Just patience. It was like patience. That was like I heard it again, Heinz. Thanks, Annette.
Yeah, my breakthrough is the entitlement on my own being my own being. That is my breakthrough today. I didn't realize I was doing that until we had the conversation today, but that is my breakthrough.
Wow.
Yeah,
You were here to
profound.
witness it. You witnessed it firsthand. Yeah.
That was a profound breakthrough.
Yeah.
Witnessing that, Ned.
It's like witnessing yours, Will, with the other day when you were working.
Yeah.
It's so good to get confirmation that the things we're doing is working.
Yeah. The breakthrough is the transformation, eh?
Yeah.
Especially when you catch it. Because you could have a transformation and not catch it. And it just, okay, well, where's the impact on that in your life if you're not actually acknowledging it and noticing it and celebrating it, and not from a place of ego, but just good. Oh, good. This is a higher level of awareness now that I'm noticing these things. So good. Because I never used to celebrate my accomplishments or creations or whatever. And
sometimes I think I haven't moved in months, but then I realized, well, I might not have moved as much, but I've sort of made it my normal when what I did move to. I've become it's being it instead of just talking about it to start with.
yeah, exactly. And when you're being it, your life mirrors it back to you, whether you are or you're are not being it. Like, oh, there's that little aspect in my consciousness that there's that angry little child showing up again,
Yeah, exactly.
I think with William Whitecloud's program, how they term it, they call us magicians.
Yeah.
So my break. Oh, sorry, Annette, sorry.
I was going to say it's because of the magic that we create for our own lives.
Yeah.
Sorry,
magical.
Jesse.
Life is magic.
What?
It's
I had
magical.
to, I was like, oh, I just had my breakthrough. Right. So I was like, oh, he's like, yeah, exactly. It's like when I put my foot, it's like breakthrough. It was like, well, it was like I was kind of struggling with breakthrough. It's like, okay, well, what was mine today? And Will, when you said celebrate, it was like, there's the breakthrough. That's what I didn't have that connection, or I'd had it in the past and forgot it. It was like, oh, the breakthrough is what we can celebrate. And what I was so what I'll celebrate is like two things. It was like Annette. It was like your story of how you handled your divorce is the power that's going to help a lot of women. Yeah. So it's like and it was like to celebrate is like uh, I remember when I first met you, I saw this hidden power. Man, it's no longer hidden. And it's silent, and it's not silent, it's very quiet. It's quiet power
Yes.
that is no longer hidden. There we go. So that's
Yes.
my celebration.
And what a gift it is when you show up in your authentic, true self. And that, what a gift you bring by being your true self.
Those are amazing compliments. Thank you very much.
And you are a mirror.
Yeah.
We all are.
So as it's like Canada celebration, Canada Thanksgiving Canada today, yeah, and it's like Will, it's like glad you're back. So I celebrate being back. Uh, that's all. That's enough for now.
Well, thank you. It's good to be back. And I realize the structure too in my consciousness, in giving my power away, and the whole I don't belong thing can take over. It's like I don't belong. I don't belong. I'm not perfect. I got to be perfect. You know?
All right. Well, like I gotta just I get a feeling there of completion, which it's like a feeling of scatter. It's like, oh, good. So I celebrate. Thank you for
Yes.
shaping,
Thanks.
being, creating this morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the same. I've got to go.
Yeah.
Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, have fun, guys.
Yep. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.